Hello and welcome to my first vlog. I'm going to be producing a number of vlogs to try and help other beginners like myself in the camping world to explore Europe. Now, I don't know anything at all about camping, motorhoming and other such things, but recently on the way back from a holiday in Spain, my wife and I decided that we weren't going to spend a couple of £100,000 on a holiday home in Spain or Portugal, which would have about a 12.5% tax, but instead we'd spend the money that we would have spent on the tax on a new motorhome. So we started the process of narrowing down what type of motorhome, and we thought a used one around £25,000 would be about right. After looking online at what you get for that, we realised that you didn't really get a lot for that. So what we decided to do was up the budget to around £45,000. Eventually we ended up spending even more than that, but this time next week we'll pick up our new van, and I'm going to talk you through how I decided on the van that we've selected and how we're going to set it up, what we've bought for it, and then where we're going for it with it. So if you'd like to join me, then these could be interesting times. The search started with looking at Auto Trader, and then we thought we'd better not buy something used because we don't know anything about vans, and if anything goes wrong or it's rubbish to start with, we'd be in trouble. So we then started looking at websites on dealers and things like that, and went and looked at one used vehicle. But after doing some research, looking at forums, we found out that you need to have something that's ideally below 3.5 tons, below 3 meters high, and shorter than 7 meters. There are many reasons for this, those being, if you have something over 3.5 tons and you're in Austria or Switzerland, it can cause all sorts of problems with a type of tachograph that I understand you need to hire, and you pay by the mile. But also there's a lot of paperwork that's not in English that you need to complete to actually hire the tacho machine. Also on tolls, you can pay a standard toll using a tag or something similar when you're touring around Europe. If you have something that's below 7 meters in length, below 3 meters in height, and under 3.5 tons. Also, when you come to sell the vehicle, most people can drive up to 3.5 tons on a UK driving license, but if you go above that, then it depends on when you passed your driving test, or you need to take an additional test. So for those reasons, that dictated the size of the van and the weight. Then we started to look around, and many of the vans look like old caravans. They're very dark and they've got terrible upholstery, and we thought we want to sit in something that we feel proud of and that we can spend many hours enjoying. It needs to have a lot of space. Some friends of ours that live about 5 hours drive away have a motorhome, and they have a small layout, a sort of an L shape with a table behind the driver and passenger seat, and then behind that is a kitchen, and behind that is a bedroom. And it seemed to us that the bedroom takes up about a third of the van space. So when we found there was a make called Chasson, which we'd never heard of, a French make, we thought this would be a great start. So we looked at the Chasson, and it was perfect in every way. It had a drop down bed, which meant that during the day all of the van space could be used for living, and at night time, which is the only time you actually need your bed, you could just lower it down electrically from the roof, and it goes down to about a foot off the ground, and then you can climb into bed at normal height and sleep. And then in the morning, just press a button and lift it up and it goes away. So that seemed really good. So we went and had a drive of one of these, and it was an automatic Fiat Ducato engine with what they called a computerized automatic, which I understand is basically a manual 6-speed gearbox that has a computer that deals with the clutch and changes up and down the gears for you. Now when I went out in this, it was very jerky, and I've been used to having autos before, and this time I thought I probably wouldn't be very comfortable with it. I asked them if I could drive a manual version, and they said they don't order the manuals at the dealership I was looking at because the autos are so popular and everyone wants an auto. After that, I decided to try a used automatic, and the friend I just mentioned that's a 5-hour drive away has a used Fiat that he currently uses as his motorhome. So I went and had a drive of that, only to find that it still had a bit of a jerk in the gear change, which was not as smooth as I felt it should be. So we rejected the idea of an automatic Fiat box, but I did want to stay with the Fiat box because many people had told me both verbally and on internet forums that the Fords have a couple of problems. One has been the injector problem, which I believe they've sorted out now. There was a big recall because injectors were failing on their new Transit chassis. And the other is because they're such a popular van, they are targets for thieves who want to strip it out. They don't care about the motorhome bit, they want to strip it out, get the engine and replace it. So for that reason, some insurance companies have been asking for higher premiums. Also, I've seen that the Fiat Ducato diesel engine has been very popular for many years and proven itself on most of the motorhomes that you see online, and most of the manufacturers use that chassis. So there we are. So that brought us to deciding on a manual, which the dealership I was in couldn't provide. So when we were up visiting our friend 5 hours away, we actually went to MB Motorhomes in Bury, North Manchester, and had a drive of a manual there. They had the Chassons and they had the Bürstners. Neither of those I knew anything about, and the Bürstner I'd never heard of either. However, by the time we'd left, we'd bought one. So in just under a week now, we'll be going up to collect it. I'll show you around it, show you what I was talking about with regard to the space inside, and then I'm going to talk you through how we equip it, what the decision-making process was for equipping it, and hopefully that'll help other people who are in a similar dilemma as to what to buy, what to consider, and give you some ideas. Because I was certainly looking around for help and there was nothing that directly spoke to me. I had to find all these different bits of information from different sources.